This is an example of the Tunisian's full stitch. The full stitch is a really beautiful stitch. It is extremely easy to do, but also extremely easy to make mistakes. And as with most other Tunisian stitches, the appearance is completely different on the reverse side of the fabric. The full stitch can be done with any number of stitches, even or odd, and it is a 2-row repeat. And there is a little stretch in the fabric, but not much. In Tunisian crochet, the number of stitches is the same as the number of loops on the hook, and the number of loops on the hook is also the same as the number of chains in the original foundation chain. With the full stitch, you work into the empty spaces between the vertical bars, and this is the first stitch. The hook is pushed through the first space to the other side, yarn over and then pull up a loop. This is how you do it in practice. So this is the first empty space, insert the hook, yarn over and pull up a loop. And continue working into the empty spaces along the row, yarning over and pulling up a loop for each space. So for 5 stitches, work into the first 3 empty spaces, but then the last space needs to be missed. Otherwise, there will be 1 extra loop on the hook and hence 1 extra stitch. In this swatch I've chained 12, so there are 12 stitches and there will be 12 loops on the hook. Reaching the end of the first forward pass, I'm going to miss the last space but push the hook through the space to the right of the end 2 vertical bars that form the edge of the fabric, yarning over and putting up the 12th loop. With full stitch it is essential, I think, to count the loops on the hook because stitches can be so easily gained or lost. It is also useful to mark the first stitch of each return pass because this is the space that is always worked into. Now do a normal Tunisian crochet return pass. So with the second forward pass, you do not push the hook into the first empty space like you did in the first forward pass. You miss the first empty space and push the hook into the second empty space, yarn over and pull up a loop all the way along to the end of the row. And because you missed an empty space at the beginning of the row, you insert the hook into the last empty space of the row, yarn over and pull up, in this case, the 4th loop, and then the 5th stitch is by inserting the hook to the right of the 2 vertical bars at the left hand edge of the fabric, yarn over and pull up the 5th loop. So what is happening here is that the vertical bars are slightly offset above and below, resulting in the lovely woven appearance of the fabric. For the second forward pass of the full stitch, you miss the first space and work into the second space. Now I find it useful to mark the first loop at the edge of the empty space to remind me when I do the next forward pass to work into the first space, because although the full stitch is deceptively simple, it is also very easy to gain or lose stitches. With the second forward pass, you work into the last space, and that is the one above the one that was missed in the previous forward pass. And it is a good idea to check the number of loops on the hook to make sure none are being lost or gained. Chain 1, mark the first stitch of the return pass, and then just do a normal return pass. Then for the third forward pass, this is the same as the first, you work into the empty space, and that is the one that is marked. And I won't move the marker until the next forward pass. It is moved on alternate rows. My tips for the full stitch are: number 1, make sure you mark the first stitch of each return pass. Number 2, mark the first vertical loop of alternate forward passes. By doing that, you will always know whether the hook should be placed in the first or second space of the forward pass. And thirdly, it is worth counting the number of loops on the hook to make sure that they stay the same. This is what a swatch of the full stitch looks like, with the offset vertical bars resulting in the woven appearance of this beautiful fabric.